Hey everyone, Token Dave over here, the dorky token black guy that's just trying to get by. And welcome to the first edition of Street Fighter Flashbacks. So if you didn't watch the intro video, in celebration of the 30-year anniversary of Street Fighter, I am going to share my memories of playing the games at those time periods, as well as some reviews of Street Fighter and other media, Good God, 30 years. Oh boy. Oh God, 30-year anniversary. God damn, I'm old because I played this game when I was 7, And the anniversary, the game came out in August 1987, but I didn't play Street Fighter in 1987. I played the game in 1988. You see, there were arcade games that were all over the place that you were able to find. You were able to see Bad Dudes, Double Dragon, freaking Alter Beast. You were able to see those games all over the place. But Street Fighter was one of those games where, it was it was very hit and miss. Very few places carried Street Fighter. And, there was a candy shop, old-fashioned candy shop from the 40s, 50s, and 60s, which was a dying breed in the 80s and everything. But there was still one near my house, and that's where I first saw Street Fighter. And, had to push the milk carton over because I was too short to reach the joystick and reach the buttons. And, I was a huge fan of martial arts movies at that time period. I was begging my mom to let me take karate lessons after watching movies like Enter the Dragon, Last Dragon, Missing in Action, Delta Force, Bloodsport. By the way, the Chuck Norris movies and Bloodsport I was not supposed to watch as a kid. Thanks, Dad. Yeah, and what you call it? And of course, American Ninja. So Street Fighter was the closest I ever had to basically vicariously doing martial arts. And basically, I instead of while I had Punch Out as a kid on the Nintendo, Punch Out was very restrictive with what punches and how I was able to move around. Street Fighter gave me more options. I was doing various punch and kicks, and I was able to jump, and I was able to block more so. And I had instead of just bob weaving, I was able to jump, I was able to punch, I was able to block, and I was able to do the fight fire and everything, which was really called Sci-Fire, which we all know as Hadouken. And when I saw that, I was like, whoa! I was like, yo, you gotta show me how to do this. Someone, yo, how do you do this? How do you do this move? And I saw someone do that move, and he was like, I don't know what the heck I did. I just I just was trying to move this thing, and it came out. So there was the game was in Joe's place for 10 months. Joe's place was a candy shop, by the way, that I played it at. And, I couldn't figure out how to do that move, let alone one day when I'm playing as, the Player 1 character who is Ryu, wearing the white karate gi and the white headband, someone else came into the Player 2 side, and that's where I saw you could actually be a guy in a red karate gi and everything named Ken. And when that guy played me and everything, he did the Tournay Whirlwind and everything, which was known as the Hurricane Kick, which is now known as the Tatsumaki Sanbukyaku. And I was like, yo, how did you do that move? Same answer. So I spent 10 months trying to learn those moves. And speaking of which, I usually spent months on the first character, trying to beat them, And the first character would either be someone from Japan or someone from America. And in the original game, you fought in 5 different countries. Those 2 countries, plus England, China, and the final country, Thailand, where, this is where you're fighting the your various opponents, and each of them have distinct personalities as well are prototypes for what you would find in future installments of not only this fighting game franchise, but other fighting games. You know, you encountered Retsu, first fighter in Japan, you know, a middle-aged former karate champion who's holding on to his former glory. You have Genki, a ninja dressed in purple with a giant claw. Wonder who he was the prototype of. Wink, wink. And then you also went to America afterwards, where you encountered my favorite character, Joe, who was the inspiration of martial artist Joe Louis and everything, who trained in Japan and came to the United States, whose backstory is actually similar to, you know, Ken, but I'll go into that in the future. When I fought Joe, that was the first time I felt like I was really fighting in the streets, by the way. And I felt like I was in the city because he was in a train yard. And that was a restricted access place. You know, you could easily get arrested for just stepping foot there. So I felt the danger and I felt the grittiness when I fought Joe in that setting. And then you fight Mike, you know, the black former heavyweight boxer, whom is originally, you know, I'm going to come out and say this. Mike is M. Bison, you know. I'll go into further detail about that when I cover Street Fighter 2, alright? But, you know, he's the same character and everything. And then you actually get your first experience, like, fighting, like, you know, you fight Lee in China, who's very disposable and generic, but has a important relationship to characters when we reach Street Fighter 3. And then you first encounter Gen, you know, the legendary fighter and everything, you know, who gets reintroduced in Alpha, who plays a pivotal role when you go into, like, you know, the story of two particular characters. And Gen is like the second time you're really fighting in the street. You're fighting in the dingy China street and everything. And then after Gen, you actually go into England where you fight Birdie, his first appearance, and, you know, another time, the last time, you're fighting in the dirty, dingy street, and Birdie is basically, like, you know, the first time you're fighting a huge, hulking, like, you know, wrestling-type character that throws more punches and everything. And then after Birdie, you encounter Eagle and everything, the best-dressed character in the whole game and everything, and was hard as balls, too. And then after you encounter those people, you go off to Thailand, where you fight Adon, the one person that I never beat in the arcades and everything. Because Adon always owned my ass with this flipping kick that he always did and everything, which we now know is the Jaguar kick. But if you got past Adon, you actually got to fight the master of the game, you know, the boss character, Sagat, you know. And Sagat also had a fireball, but he had this kneeing move, which was a pain in the ass and everything, when you fought Sagat on using the Turbo Graphics and everything, or an emulator. You know, and by the way, see, that's the one thing. People look back and they don't give much props to Street Fighter, saying that it was, like, uber difficult and, like, you know, broken English, with people say, you got a lot to learn before you beat me. Oh. People don't realize, especially since if you didn't play Street Fighter in the 80s, this game was, like, you know, not only awesome, but it was very innovative, you know. Yes, a lot of the characters are stereotypical when you look back at now, but, like, you know, you didn't have personality within characters as in a video game at that time, you know. Retsu, basically, like, you know, with his huge eyebrows displaying his age, actually. You know, Genki cheesing the crap out of you and all, and taunting you by disappearing or reappearing. Joe, with his, like, you know, with constantly doing this spinning back kick and everything, you know, as like, you know, you're getting the best of him. You know, Mike frequently charging at you when you basically had, like, you know, half of his life away. And Lee just going back and forth. Lee was a piece of shit and everything. Lee sucked, you know. You know, again, you know, doing a lot of flipping kicks and everything, but always hitting you with with like, you know, basically right here. He would hit you with his like, you know, wrist and everything. You know, Birdie just like, you know, doing a headbutt to you all the time, and like, you know, Eagle with his flamboyant Kali sticks. You know, these were innovative at the time. You know, but like, I personally feel that this game needs to be remade and it needs to be displayed in the image like as it originally should have been. Like people like, you know, remake freaking like Street Fighter 2 or Super Street Fighter 2 or Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo all the time. But that's just my opinion. Agree? Disagree? Give me a comment below. Share some of your memories of playing the first Street Fighter game along with me. As well, give me a like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you know when a new video loads. But until then, this has been Token Dave, the Token Black Guy who's just trying to get by. I'll catch you guys later.